A sketch pad of hunger, a room full of spite, a bruise in the soul that could black out a life. He wanted applause, he wanted a stage, but hate found a home when it couldn't be caged. How does a failed artist become evil? How does a failed artist become evil? How does a failed artist become evil? When envy turns fever and fever turns lethal. Vienna on the curb, cold bread in the coat, dreams on the page, but the page wouldn't vote. Brush in the hand, but the world shut the door, so the pride turned to poison and it wanted more. Rejected, rebent, then the rage got fed. Every no in the night laid a nail in his head. Bare racks and mud, war chewing his name. Gas in the lungs and a mind full of blame. He came back hollow, all fury and fear, with a mask on his face and a plan to appear. A man made of grievance, of smoke and of stain, learning how to turn his wound into a flame. Then he found a crowd with a crack in its bones, a nation in ruins with hunger and stones. He spoke like a spell, like a surgeon with sin, with a stare that could split every weak heart in him. Flags in the rafters, the room held its breath. He sold them a future and financed their death. Soft voice, hard promise, then thunder and heat. A cult in the chamber, a march in the street. He needed a myth, so he minted a lie, pointed at neighbors and taught them to die. The broken believed him, the broken obeyed, and a million small fears got dressed up as hate. Charisma like poison in a silver lit glass. One sip and the shadows started spreading fast. How does a failed artist become evil? How does a failed artist become evil? How does a failed artist become evil? When envy turns fever and fever turns lethal. Then came the paranoia, the bunker to steel, the empire of corpse and the corpse wasn't real. Maps on the wall and the walls closing in. The fantasy tones and the rock showed its grin. He fed the machine till the machine ate the earth. Turned murder to paperwork, measured the work. Families erased in the code of a sign, and he feel evil with the bureaucratic line. Final days shaking, no halo, no crown, just a mind full of static as the city burned down. He looked for a mirror and found only blame. A wreck in the wreckage, still feeding the flame. Not tragic, not noble, just vacancy dread. A man who made history, wish he was dead. And what of the neighbors to silence the crowd? The ones who looked away, the ones who stood